All right, are you guys ready to keep the show going?
Yeah.
Next comedian coming to the stage, I'm very excited to have him here. It's his first time here. Please put your hands together for Jay Porter. Come on,
I'm Jay Porter, and I fight for truth, justice, and the right to wear spandex. Good evening, Golden Giggles. Well, I'm a little confused tonight. I thought I was getting to show up and I was going to audition for a new reality TV show, America's Next Great White Rapper Over 60.
Yeah.
A little bit about myself. I traveled all over the United States for 40 years, worked in animal management. That's called construction. I used humor at work to win friends, influence people, and destroy my enemies. When I retired, I took up stand-up comedy. I actually wanted to become an Instagram influencer, but unfortunately, I was unwilling to get the boob job. And here I am in retirement, and inflation's getting to me. It's getting to everybody. I think I need a new gig, so I've been thinking about setting up an OnlyFriends site for myself. And I'm going to sell pictures of my feet. That's because there's a lot of sick people who are into S&M. And some of you know what that means, but I'm going to tell you that means sandals and moccasins. So people all the time are asking me, you're retired, what do you do to stay busy? Well, one thing I'm a little ashamed is I spend a lot of time scrolling. But the thing about scrolling is you got to watch that algorithm. If you watch puppy videos, you get puppy videos. If you watch kitten videos, you get kitten videos. And if you watch 400-pound women on stripper poles, don't linger. Do not linger. And one thing I try not to do, watch a lot of television. There's a whole lot of channels with nothing on. Primetime TV now. Remakes of old game shows from 60 years ago. New game shows that don't even make any sense. Tonight on ABC TV, it's gender hijinks galore on What Pronoun Am I? And then you got reality TV, shows like the 600-pound pimple-popping housewives of Orange County. And then on the weekend, reality TV goes more off the rails. Ancient alien theorists. Where was that on career day in high school? You know, I could have been a crop circle decoder, an alien autopsy leader. And one thing I get to do is I spend a lot of time just trying to take care of myself, take care of my health. So I go to the gym 3 to 5 times a week. I lift weights, I swim. I only got one issue, and that's the attire some of the young ladies wear. See, a few of the ladies wear these skin-tight, flesh-tone yoga shorts, or as I refer to them as camel toe accentuators. I've dropped my dumbbells a couple of times. And then I try to watch what I eat. I watch it being cooked. I watch it go in my mouth. And so, had my physical a couple of weeks ago with my doctor. Of course, they are always pushing the plant-based, the vegan. And so I analyzed my diet. Right now, I'm about 2% vegan, and if I was milk, I'd be pretty darn healthy. And veganism, it's putting a lot of stress on modern relationships. I heard 2 women talking just the other day. Well, have you talked to your husband about going vegan yet? And he replied, well, yes, I have. But unfortunately, he still has his testicles. And then, like I say, I keep looking into this. I figured out that I can have 1 vegan meal a day. It's something that I can do, you can do. Oreos and potato chips. Who's with me? And so I have time to think about things and contemplate things that you just don't have time to think about. The other day, I'm reading an article, weird college majors, unusual majors. This one major was puppetry. Now, what kind of darn classes do you have in a puppetry major? Sock Puppets 101, Marionette Management, Ventriloquism, when good puppets go bad. And then I've got the The entire women's fragrance and perfume industry, they're getting it wrong. You see, I was at this comedy club a few weeks ago, and I foolishly left my wallet at home. Evening goes on, I'm getting hungry. I'm getting hungry as a bear. And these women start walking past my table, and I'm like, you smell like nachos. And then, why would you name a brand of condoms Trojans? When I think of Trojans, I think about a gift entering a gate, and inside that gift, there's an army. And when that army escapes, it causes chaos and destruction. So speaking of chaos and destruction, I have 2 grandkids, age 5 and 7. I'm driving them home the other day, and the little one blurts out, when I grow up, I'm going to buy myself a blue bearded dragon, but not off the dark web. The older one blurts out, yeah, that's a sketchy website. My head flips around like Linda Blair from The Exorcist. Where did you learn about the dark web? Both of them. YouTube videos. So parents, grandparents, do your kids and grandkids a favor. Please expose them to those old, extremely violent, politically incorrect Looney Tunes where they're going to learn about classical music from Bugs Bunny, theoretical physics from the Coyote. Can we do this, folks? So like we're talking here, people, a lot of bad news recently. You know, wherever you're at in the political spectrum, you go, man, this isn't right. So I want to take you all back to just a news story just a few weeks ago when the world was a lot more sane. Y'all heard about that southern chain of restaurants, Cracker Barrel, and they were going to become Panera Bread with grits. And they've changed the direction they're going, but I wanted to share with you what that dining experience might have been if they'd stayed on course. Good day. My name is Jay. How may I welcome you this morning? Could I start you off with a drink order? Could I start you off with a mocha soy latte? And I've got some new menus here. We have many new vegan items. May I highly recommend our Impossible Chicken Fried Steak. And it comes with a side of gluten-free biscuits and oat milk gravy. Yum, yum. And y'all such a nice looking table there. Y'all such nice people. I'll bet you're ready to check that box. You'll check that box, ready to check it right now. If you check that box, we're going to round up your purchase to the next dollar when you leave. And that little dab of money is going to go to support gender-affirming care for bipolar cats. I'll be back to check your order later. So I'm going to close out with a little story about the thing that takes most of the time in my life. My wife of 42 years this August. Yeah. People ask, how do we do it? And I respond with the logical response, well, you haven't seen me naked. You didn't have to laugh. So we like to travel. I'm going to tell you this story from a few years ago. So men my age, we developed what I might call a leakage problem. And to solve that, we wear a pee pad. So I hadn't had this leakage problem too long, and we were heading out on a trip. Head to the airport. Don't think anything about it. Now I have an artificial knee and an artificial hip. I always volunteer that I have that, and they give me a little extra wanding as you go through TSA, and that stands for tension, stress, and anxiety. So I get my little bit of extra wanding, and it continues. And then I notice the TSA agent is wanding around my groin in a circle. And then he's patting around me in a circle. And this goes on for a little bit, and I look at the screen behind me. And there was an outline of my body, and over my groin was a white rectangle.
Oh my God.
And at that moment, I knew I was a suspected pee-pad terrorist. The padding continued and the wanding continued. The wanding continued and the padding continued. And this went on for a little bit. And finally, I'd had enough of it. And I raised my hand and said, "Excuse me, sir. I am wearing a pee pad. If you will just allow me to reach in, pull it out, you can examine it, and we can both go about our day." Well, one cannot just be brandishing a pee pad of mass destruction at the airport. And this supervisor, he brought in his supervisor, and not a supervisor by accident. First thing he noticed, I was wearing a belt, which I removed. The padding continued and the wanding continued. The padding continued and the wanding continued. This is getting very exciting, folks. We're getting near the climax. Well, won't fit in the hole. We're not going to climax. Anyway, he starts to go up and down my sides, frisky. And it gets more vigorous. And then my pants start to fall off. Out of the goodness of his heart, he allows me to take one hand to hold my pants up and put one arm in the air. The frisking continued, the wanding continued. This went on and on. I was beginning to feel hopeless. I was beginning to feel alone. I turned around looking for that one person I could depend on, the love of my life, my wife, who had turned her back on me and was quarreling in laughter. Finally, the TSA supervisor informed me of a maneuver called the crotch grapple. After the appropriate or inappropriate crotch grappling was performed, I was informed that I was no longer a threat to national security. I stumbled forward, shoeless, my pants still about to fall off, but as God is my witness, I will never wear a pee pad to the airport again. Thank you all. I'm Jay Porter.